Logistics were a paramount concern. Supplying such an army across the sea and in hostile territory required immense planning. Ships had to be gathered to transport the troops, horses, and initial supplies across the Hellespont, the Dardanelles. A fleet of around 160 triremes and transport vessels was assembled, largely provided by the Greek allies, particularly Athens. Arrangements had to be made for ongoing supply lines, or, as was often Alexander's way, the army would have to live off the land, a risky proposition in enemy territory. Finances were also critical. Philip had left the Macedonian treasury depleted by his constant wars and preparations. Alexander reportedly started the campaign heavily in debt, distributing much of his remaining crown lands and revenues to his companions, famously remarking that he kept for himself only his hopes. Before departing, Alexander had to ensure the security and administration of Macedon and Greece during his potentially long absence. He appointed Antipater, one of Philip's most trusted and experienced generals, as regent of Macedon and Strategos, military governor of Europe. Antipater was given command of a substantial force, around 12,000 infantry and 1,500 cavalry, to maintain order in Greece, defend Macedon from any resurgent northern tribes, and deal with any internal dissent. This was a critical appointment, and Antipater would prove to be a loyal and capable steward, though his relationship with Alexander's mother, Olympias, who remained in Pella, would become increasingly strained. Alexander also made sure to perform the necessary religious rites and sacrifices. Appeasing the gods was essential for the success of any ancient undertaking, especially one as audacious as this. He offered sacrifices in Pella and at the ancient religious center of Dion, at the foot of Mount Olympus, invoking the protection of Zeus and other deities. He also sought favorable omens, which were duly reported by his seers. The propaganda aspect was also important. This was framed as a sacred war of revenge for past Persian sacrileges and a mission to liberate fellow Greeks. In the spring of 334 BCE, all was finally ready. The army marched from Pella to Amphipolis, and then to Sestos on the European side of the Hellespont. Alexander himself, imbued with a profound sense of history and his own heroic destiny, made a symbolic detour. He visited Elias at the tip of the Thracian Chersonese, where he offered sacrifice at the tomb of Protesilaus, the first Greek to land and die at Troy during the Trojan War, seeking his blessing for a more fortunate landing in Asia. Then, with a keen sense of theater and emulating the heroes of old, Alexander himself steered his flagship across the Hellespont. As he approached the Asian shore, near the site of ancient Troy, he hurled his spear from the ship into the soil, claiming Asia as Spear-Won territory. He was the first to leap ashore in full armor, a symbolic act of taking possession.